scented her. It didn't matter that he'd been ordered to kidnap her, to bring her back by any means necessary. He wanted her with a desperation that defied logic. He locked down that thought as he reached the top of another bridge, and that was when he saw her in a gazebo, talking to a handful of large dragon males. His dragon snarled, not liking that at all. Music played from somewhere, lifting on the wind, and the rest of the townspeople were laughing, drinking, having a large party. The townspeople who lived outside the bailey walls, no doubt, the farmers and others who provided various necessities for the realm. As he strode closer, the music grew louder, people laughing and singing, and a man stumbled before he clapped Rhodes on the shoulder. Rhodes tensed, almost going into fight mode, until the slightly smaller male shoved a tankard into his hand. "Praise be to the goddess, and hope we see an end to this winter soon." "Praise be to the goddess," he murmured, taking the drink, the scent actually quite pleasing, which made sense. This was a realm known for their finery. Everyone here had an education, a roof over their head, and was given the chance to figure out what type of job they preferred. They would not be drinking some of the swill he'd had the misfortune to taste in other realms. Taking a sip, he neared the edge of the gazebo and turned from Stella and the two males as he leaned against the outside railing, watching the revelry. But he remained close enough to hear her, scent her. "I promise that we're looking into what happened." Stella's lilting voice was soft, lyrical as she spoke, so very soothing. Her silvery hair hung down her back in a thick, intricate woven braid, and she wore a simple navy tunic over loose navy pants, as was the style of the realm. It was clear her clothing was quality, however, given the elaborate silver stitching along the neck and hemlines. Her breasts were full, given her petite size, and they strained prettily against the fabric, making him wonder all sorts of things, like how soft her skin would feel if he were to caress her bare breasts. No, he shut down that thought, forced himself to focus, to scan for her security, who was nowhere to be seen. "Aye, we know that you are, and we appreciate you coming here in person to speak with us." "Of course, I wouldn't miss the festival anyway," she said on a laugh. "You've outdone yourselves this year." "We really have. So, when will we be hearing an announcement about your engagement, now that your sister is happily mated?" Rhodes inwardly cursed as the ale sloshed over his fingers when he crushed the metal tankard in his hand. Luckily, no one was paying him any attention. Children, in dragonling form, were sliding over a frozen pond while their parents looked on. In the distance, he could see slightly older children sledding down a huge hill, and there was an ale tasting going on, which made sense, considering this little township provided the ale to the rest of the realm. He funneled all of that out as he strained to hear Stella's response. An engagement. He'd heard nothing whispered about her getting mated, not even a hint. And he hadn't seen her with a male, not romantically anyway. She laughed, the musical sound a balm to his ears. "No engagement for me. I'm far too busy to even think about looking for a mate." One of the males laughed. "Well, we were just curious. The wedding celebration was—" Rhodes tuned out the rest of the inane conversation when he realized she wasn't engaged, wasn't looking for a mate. He shouldn't care, not considering he'd been hired to kidnap her and deliver her to the Fae. Not that it mattered what his contract said, because he wouldn't be kidnapping her. His dragon had decided to keep her instead. Chapter 2. Stella waited in the shadows of the castle's hallway until the door to her sister's room opened and the big dragon male who was Juniper's mate stepped out. As soon as Zephyr was out of sight down the long stone hallway, she briefly knocked on the heavy door. "Juniper?" "Come in," her sister called out, even as she shoved the door open. Phew, her sister was fully dressed. Juniper was newly mated and just back from her honeymoon, so Stella had been hesitant to bother her tonight. "You have a few minutes?" Juniper had told her that she was always welcome in her chambers, but for over 100 years everyone had thought Juniper was dead. Stella had thought she'd lost her big sister, the one who...